Hello guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures, and today we're doing the next part of our Accurate Dinosaur Mod Collection Special with our Digital Ducks Mod Pack. So, unlike the last version, or the last part, I really wanted to delve into the science a little bit, so there's been a lot of debate and stuff, and we're really starting to understand how dinosaurs got into birds and got their feathers. So it seems like from the dinosaurs that are in game, these are the dinosaurs that probably most definitely had feathers. So I'll explain how these different groups got these feathers and such. So we know that Sinosauropteryx almost definitely had feathers and may have lost them independently a few times. So Sinosauropteryx include T-Rex and Tyrannosaurids, ornithomimids, therizinosaurs, oviraptorids, a lot of these little dinosaurs, Deinonychids or dromaeosaurs, I mean. So things like Utahraptor and Velociraptor, and obviously the many birds that live with us today. But what makes it even more complicated is that we also have evidence of feathers in group animals that are not in this group. For example, we have early Jurassic fossils of trackways that could be Dilophosaurus. I believe that's early Jurassic actually, but similar thing, with potential feather imprints on it. And we have Concavinator, which is a Carcharodontosaurid, I believe, or in like a Carnosaur, which includes a lot of those animals like Allosaurus and Carcharodontosaurus. They have evidence of quill knobs on their forearms, so that could be potentially very interesting. But what we also have definite evidence of is we have three different ornithischians. We have a Titaniolong, which is a Heterodontosaurid. We have Calendrodromius, which is believed to be basal neo-ornithischian. So an early ancestor to things like hadrosaurs and iguanodons. And we have Psittacosaurus with those quills on the tail from that really well-preserved specimen that is a basal ceratopsian. So it seems that these feathers were either evolved convergently or even just evolved, could have been basal to dinosaurs. And what makes it even more complicated is that we have pterosaurs that have up to stage 3 feathers, but they're not technically feathers, they're pycnofibers, they're kind of different. So that could be an explanation that they could be basal to Ornithodyra, which is the group that includes pterosaurs and birds. Pterosaurs and dinosaurs, which includes birds. So it's a very, very big group, and it means it potentially could be basal to them, and then they lost it independently and got their scales back in a bunch of different groups, which would include, obviously we have Tyrannosaur have evidence of losing its feathers based on Ballitol and other studies. We have Thyreophorans, which include Ankylosaurs and Stegosaurs. A lot of ornithopods, a lot of those later ones. Ceratopsians as well. So it's very, very interesting group area of science. So we really don't have all the answers yet because we don't know a lot of those really, really basal dinosaurs. We don't have any skin impressions really, so we don't know really if they have feathers or not. So it's really, really wild and interesting, and something that's hopefully going to be looked at in the future, and we hope to find more evidence of to better understand it. So the study of feathers and dinosaurs is really so interesting and so complicated because there's kind of just spattering of evidence everywhere, and we're just trying to put the pieces together when we're missing a bunch of different pieces. So I really hope you guys do your own research on that. So I think that's awesome. So I think now I've done enough rambling. Let's get into the video. So I think we're going to start with a little guy, because this one's really, really cool. We have got Compsognathus. So this is a really cool one. So let me get a good look at this guy for you guys. Just wait until we try and get a good view. See where he runs off to first. So the very interesting thing about this guy, I know I had him in a previous video and I got the dinosaur name wrong. It was not Sinosauropteryx, it was Sinosauropteryx. And Sinosauropteryx is a very interesting story because it's actually one of the first, if not the first dinosaur we have evidence of that was found that had evidence of feathers. And I believe the story was the person was inspired by Jurassic Park and then handed it to the local museum. And they're like, wow, this dinosaur has feathers. And they were just gobsmacked. And it kind of changed a lot. I think he's going to the food, so we'll get a good pause of him in an area with... So it's a very, very interesting story for the fossil. And not only that, this guy, we know the colors of a very close of Sinosauropteryx, which is a very not Sinosauropteryx again. I got that again. Very similar names, you get them mixed up. But Sinosauropteryx, we have a good idea of its colors, and it's a very close relative. So it's really cool that he incorporated that, since we know it's a close relative, very similar colors. And we see here that it's got like, we know that it's kind of like this gingerish color with this banding on the tail. Looks very similar to things like red pandas. That's what it's often been like too. This is very, very interesting colors. I love this guy so much. It's one of my favorite. Just look at that, isn't that wonderful? You can see the monthly touches on him too. It's just really small, it's hard to get a look, so we can see the banding here. There was also some studies recently interpreting it as being sort of adapted to open habitats, but it seems like most likely, considering the habitat it lived in more closed habitats, like in a forest. And what would happen is that this would kind of be counter shading, so that it would break their outline, so that it makes them less obvious to predators. So let's just get ourselves in a good position while we wait for him to come to get his feed. Very, very wonderful little guy. So this guy is also a Coelurosaur. It's more closely related to, it's basal to Metaraptorans, which Metaraptorans include like Dinosaurs, Oviraptorids, and a lot of those other guys. It's actually more closely related to like an early split between ornithomimids as well, so it's pretty... So let's watch him. Let's get ourselves ready. Look at him jump up. Comes down. Pulls that off. Wonderful. Really like these little guys. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's just the science of it as well is so interesting, and this mod really... It's really cool that they managed to get the color of a animal that we know of and incorporate it with a close relative. I think that was really the coolest thing about it, because we know what this close relative of Compsognathus looked like, and we just applied it to this guy. I love it. It was just so cool. Very interesting story for the fossil as well. So I think we've had enough of you. We're going to have a look at your close feathers. So let's have a look while we're waiting. So this one is just the same, but a little bit more yellow, orangish. That one's like a darker reddish orange. This is more just pure orange and yellowish with some grey on it. Doesn't look too bad. It's quite a nice one. I think we have to play it on slow because we really can't get a good view of it otherwise. Honestly. So let's just watch him come out of here. So let's watch it run out. So this one's definitely a lot more yellowish with like a red little thing on it. I think that looks quite nice actually. With red on the back of it. It all fits the pattern pretty much the same, so that's good. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's just hard in the grass. So now he's running off. So I have another one coming in. I just have to be very careful because these guys are so small. So we've got... Let's see what the next one is. This one's a lot more greener and brown. Ugh, that one's okay. It's not too bad. It's a real odd mix of green and brown. Yeah, that's not too bad. I'm definitely much more of the fan of the more accurate colours or the slightly different shades. Not too bad though. It's always good to have variation.
To the park.
And we'll watch the next one come out, and then we'll have to go to the other one. I think it's cool that I get to show off accurate like colours as well in this. Oh, now this one's different. This is a real nice green and blue mix. She doesn't look too bad. Obviously, green and blue on a dinosaur is kind of weird, but I think it came out looking alright. And the red around the head really makes it. It's not too bad, actually. Quite a cute little guy, isn't he? Very adorbs.
Welcome a Coptic native to the park.
Oh, that's the last one, yeah. So that one's empty, and now we've got to move to this one. So release. So let's make sure we get a good view of this one. I think this is the vivid. We can have a look at all the skins later. This is the last one. It's kind of annoying that they're 5 and not 6. I'm not gonna lie. Now this one's interesting. It's like a black and... Yeah, that one's weird, but I kind of like it. It's like a black and blue. It actually fits pretty well. It's nice contrast. Kind of weird splotchy on the body, though. But it doesn't look too bad. I like the red on it as well. They're very, very cute. So let's have a look at them all together.
To the park.
So you can barely see them. Let's just see them hanging out. Grabbing the feet over there. There's 3. They're all over here. That's good. See if we can get a good look at them in comparison. There's the one running up over here. So my couple's going for a drink. So this is the original one. I have to say this one's my favourite just because it's based off a real animal. I just think that's so awesome. Pops off. Comes in. And plus it's such a cute little animation. Look at that. It's so adorable. So cute. How can you not love the little man? Shows a really nice bunch of skins. Really cannot complain. So cute. So look at the other one. This one's having a feed too. Where is this one? That's the lighter oranger one with the red crest. It's the other one over here. Must be. Yeah, this one's drinking. Clearly happy. So I think that's a good look at them. So now we'll move on to the next guys. So the next guy should be Proceratosaurus, which is an early ancestor of T-Rex. So it's kind of the group that evolved into the group that became the Tyrannosauridae. Since it's a Proceratosaurid, it's Proceratosaurus. It's kind of the group that became T-Rex. So we'll start off with the basic one, look at the moment. So that one doesn't look too bad, it's quite nice. So this is, yeah, early relative of T-Rex. So as I was explaining before, a lot of these early guys most likely had feathers. And we do have evidence of that, since we have like Tyrannus, for example, which is fully feathered, and pretty big too, comparable to things like a Bertosaurus. But what we see from belly tall, and looking at this skin impressions that we have from Tyrannosauridae, which includes a Tyrannosaurus, Albertosaurus, the Spletosaurus, things like that, is that it may have potentially lost them over before the evolution of Tyrannosauridae, whatever due for whatever reason, potentially large size or whatever reason. So it's very possible that these groups kind of early Proceratosaurids, like this guy and Tyrannus and things, would have evolved or already had feathers, and they may have lost it over that time. But I think this guy looks awesome. Though it is very possible that since Tyrannus is not that much smaller than a lot of this, like Albertosaurus and the Spletosaurus, is not that much smaller, so it's possible that they could have feathers. We just, based on the evidence we have, it just seems unlikely. But the thing is also, it's only really known from areas that might not have had feathers anyway. We don't have the whole body for a lot of these animals. So it could be sparser feathering on other parts of the body or patina scales. We really just don't have the 100% evidence to confirm or deny it, so either interpretation can work. But I really like how this one came out. This is like really cool because I really like the darkness and the lightness comparison. I think they came out looking really nice. I personally like it a lot. So I'm going to watch you, since I was talking, I'm going to watch you have a feed. Maybe if it was a little bit grayer, that could work. Just seems a little bit too contrasty. Not too bad though. I like the crest on it. I like how the crest came out. I really like that orangey reddish on the crest. Really wonderful little guy. So now let's open up for everyone else. Well, let's make sure we get a good look at this guy before he comes out. So this is the neck skin. I'm liking this one a little more. No, not really. If that had like this pattern and the crest of the base skin, I think this would be the perfect one, honestly. But I like this one. I kind of like I actually do kind of like the pinkish on there. I think that looks quite nice. So just go on normal. I think that one looks quite cool. Pinkish on the hands. Looks interesting. Not too bad. So have a look at the next one. Oh, this one looks quite nice too. I really like the yellowish combined with the on the face as well. This one's quite nice.
We are pleased to welcome a Proceratosaurus to the park.
Let's have a look at the next one. Ooh, this one does. I think all these ones are quite nice. I really like the reddish on this crest there. This is a little bit more bluish, more similar to the base skin. And then we have coming up. This one's got a lot more lighter face with a more purplish on the crest. It's not all too dissimilar from each other. Is that the last one? Seems to be. Yep. So then we'll open up this one. Just make sure we get a good position. Get him in a good position to get a look at it. I'm going to say this one's probably one of my faves. We're liking the combination. So we can see it's got the purplish there. I have to say this is probably one of the best ones. I think they're all more similar to each other, but all really, really nice. So I think this one may have like the least interesting... Nah, I think this one's got a nice skin. It's just the least... But it's got the best variation, I think. Because I think the Compsognathus has a really nice one. But kind of the green and blue ones kind of ruin it, make it look kind of weird. This one's kind of like the best all round. Though I've got to say Velociraptor, just because there's so many options with the Velociraptors. Those look quite nice. And even the Dinocaris, not Dinocaris, Deinonychus from the last one. That was really nice, I really like that one. So all these guys look pretty good, I really cannot complain, they all look wonderful. I love all this different variation. It's good to get two patterns as well. Awesome, I love it. So all these guys are really good. So I think we're going to move on to the last one. This one I'm really excited for. So this is not a dinosaur, this is a pterosaur. We've got Pteranodon in here. As I mentioned before, what really makes it so interesting is that we have very good evidence of a lot of pterosaurs having pycnofibers, and pycnofibers are considered to be kind of similar to feathers, though it may potentially be that the feathery covering, as I mentioned, may be basal to Ornithodira, which is the group that includes pterosaurs and dinosaurs. So that's a very interesting area of science, and that's something that we probably need to look into, because that's really, really cool. So first we're going to start off with the base skin. Who's coming out? I have to say, this is one of my faves. I love it. I really... I'll wait for it to talk. I mentioned to Digital Duck that since Pteranodon lived in, similar to like albatrosses and other seabirds, they kind of just wandered across the ocean, I suggested using like seabirds and stuff, and I think that was such a really awesome idea, and it really paid off with a lot of these really great skins. So this one's based a lot of like seabirds like petrels, albatrosses, cormorants, or shags as we call them in New Zealand, things like that. So I'm going to say this is one of my favorite skins out of the bull pack, and I think Pteranodon is probably my favorite animal of the pack, just because of how much it's improved. You can see the pycnofibers here. I really love how it came out on the crest. You can see the anatomy's been fixed, especially with the beak. I think that just looks so wonderful. I hopefully want you to fly, because I want you to show off the beautiful patterns that you got on your wings. So I gotta say, this looks wonderful. I love the orange here, the whitish. Really fits with a lot of seabirds, since they have that kind of very simple, but very also intriguing patterns, because they can do a lot with that grey and black and white. It's really interesting. Let's see if you fly. Are you gonna fly for me? Or are you just gonna sit there and be a weirdo? I'm sure the first one does fly. Still kind of move to a position. No, I don't think so. Okay, we'll move on to the next one then. So this is the alpine by the looks of it. The other one's flying, damn it. I'm gonna get a look at the other one. Turn it on camera. So look, that gives us a really good look at the pattern there with the splotches on the wings. I think that looks so good. I really, really like this pattern. Has to be one of my favorites. Look at that. That's wonderful. So we can see, we'll go back to alpine. So this one's very, very similar. It's got the same pattern and everything. It's just got a little bit more greenish and like pinkish going through it. Doesn't look too bad. I really prefer the first one, but this one doesn't look too bad either. Actually gonna get you flying this time. Let's get a pretty good look at them. Look at that. I'm gonna stop at the front there. Most people out there are pretty lucky to see a pterosaur up this close. Fly away. So that one's pretty cool. So let's move on to the next one. This will be rainforest. So now this one I quite like too. I like the base one. This one. This one's based a lot on obviously the Lost World one, but this is also based on forgot which particular species of cormorant, but it's based on a species of cormorant. I believe maybe the neotropical cormorant or one of them. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure if Digital Duck wants to comment and tell me exactly which species he based it on. But I think this looks awesome. I really, really love it. I like the blue on it here, the yellow. It's really nice contrast, because a lot of the cormorants just really have bright faces. That came out perfectly. And it's a lot more basic wing. Doesn't have that complex pattern. So this, I think, yeah, Pteranodon has to be my favorite, just because I really, really like the skins that they put on this one. Those are wonderful. I really, really love this guy. He's having his fun planning himself. One interesting thing that we know is that we have fossilized ticks that may have been from pterosaurs, or most likely came from pterosaurs, which is really awesome, which helps give that evidence for pictofibers, because usually those kind of ticks are trying to cling onto fur and things. So we don't see as complex patterns as this one. The other one had a bit more complex pattern. This one's just a lot more basic black, with that interesting face. I think that works really well as contrast. I think that looks wonderful. I really do love it. So yep, that works well. So let's move on to the next one. We've got jungle. So this one's quite similar. It's just to kind of reverse the colours a bit. Instead of white, you got orange on the bottom and some red there. I think that looks quite well, quite nice. I like those back feet there. That's so awesome. I think I need to put a Pteranodon as a thumbnail. I'll have to think about that. But I really like this jet black one. I think that looks really nice. Very, very awesome. So now we're going to move on to wetland. So this one's more similar to the first pattern, by the looks of it. Yeah, definitely. But it's more greenish and yellow, so that doesn't look too bad. Really nice mix for people that want certain colours. I just think that seabird inspiration was such a good idea. I really like how this came up there, though. Everyone flying around. I just scream all day? Okay, let's just let you scream. So we'll move on to the last one. We've got coastal. Lucky last. Let's have a look at this one. And I have to say, oh, this one doesn't look too bad. I like the purplish and that works quite well. It's just a slightly different version of the second pattern, the one that's more like the Lost World one. I'd say that looks really nice. But you can see the accuracy changes as well. I think I need to get more to that. You can see that the teeth have been removed, the beak has been changed, the skull's been changed. So it's kind of like a paleo edit within that, so it looks really, really nice. And we have a lot of variation within crests and shapes within Pteranodon, since we know such a good amount from a few thousand specimens of Pteranodon. So it seems we know we have sexual dimorphism, so the males have a kind of this more impressive one, the females have a much smaller crest. And we can see different variations of potentially species or even genera. Like Jessenbergia, which is like often considered its own genus or lumped within Pteranodon or species Pteranodon. That was really cool. And it's just so cool to see them flying around. Clearly happy, no problems, no worries. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. So yeah, I think that gives us a good view of all the skins. So that's part 2 done. Okay, so this was the part 2 of part 1 of the Feather Mod Pack. So that's a bit of a mouthful. So what should be coming in part 2? There's a few things that could be coming in part 2. It just depends what Duck wants to do. But what's definitely going to be coming is Archaeornithomimus, Gallimimus, and Troodon. So those are going to be some very interesting species to see them put in here. And potentially Albertosaurus, but as I mentioned, it's maybe not that likely, but there's a few other species that could be included to that. Just depends what he wants to make. But there's also some cool species that could be another pack, like Utyrannus, Dinosaurus, Therizinosaurus. There already is one Therizinosaurus, but there's a few cool feathered dinosaurs that I think could fit well into a feather pack. Like you could have Utyrannus, because Utyrannus is pretty cool. Gigantoraptor or just any other Oviraptorid. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, just my ideas. If someone wants to try and make that, go ahead, and if it's accurate enough, I'll feature it on here. So I'm really happy that this is out finally, and we're going to get another pack, part of this pack sometime in the next future, hopefully. I know he's been busy, but I hope he manages to find some time to finish this pack. So it's really fun that he enjoys this and everyone else can enjoy this. It's really awesome to have someone that cares enough, or people that care enough, to try and put scientifically accurate animals into games like these for people to enjoy. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and make sure to, if you want to make sure that you get whatever I upload, you need to click that little bell icon in the corner there, so you get a little notification every time I upload something, which has been a bit spotty lately, but it's just been kind of busy, so it is what it is. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye bye.